In this chapter, we're going to talk about all kinds of different functions and how to graph certain types of functions. In this first section, all we're going to do is basically learn some definitions about functions and their graphs. So let's start off with what a relation is. This is maybe the only time in the class I'm going to discuss relation, but we need to know what a relation is before we get to a function. A relation is absolutely any set of ordered pairs. So, if R is equal to this, well, it's a set, because it's got the squiggly brackets, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 ordered pairs in it. It's a relation. Now, what is the set of all of the first components? These ordered pairs, here's the first component, second component, first, second, first, second, first, second. The domain is the set of all of the first components. And in this case, the domain above would be, make it a set, a 5, a 1, but it's a set so we don't repeat that 1, and then 5 again. So the only first components we have are 1 and 5. And the order in a set doesn't matter either. I tend to like to write them in increasing order sometimes. So this is the domain of this relation. The range is the set of all the second components of the ordered pairs. So a 10, a -3, -4, and -3. So there are really only 3 different ones. So the range is going to be 10, 3, -3, -4. Of course, I didn't write them in the same order, but in a set, the order of the elements doesn't make any difference. So we've got the domain and the range. We're going to use a drawing to represent this relation. Well, typically that means just draw a circle, 2 circles, one for the domain, one for the range. And let's see, the domain was just 1 and 5. And the numbers in the range were 10, -3, and -4. So maybe I'll put a point for each one of them. Well, let's see, what were the ordered pairs? 5 gets mapped to 10. So we usually draw an arrow like this. Kind of an edge or a line or a curve, and then put some kind of an arrowhead there. 5 gets mapped to 10. That means 5, 10 is an ordered pair. 1 gets mapped to -3. Okay. 1 gets mapped to -4. Like that. And the last one is 5 getting mapped to -3. Okay, so we've got 4 arrows there. So that's how we use a representation or a drawing for a relation. Maybe I'll put R for the relation. All right, now that leads us to the definition of a function. A function is a relation, but it's a specific type. It has a property that all relations don't have. Here's the property. It's a relation in which no 2 ordered pairs have the same first component and different second components. So let's take a look at this. This example here, I'm asking, is it or is it not a function? You might guess, because I called it f, that it is, and indeed it is. Notice that all of the first elements are different numbers. So it would be impossible to have 2 ordered pairs where 2 of them have the same first component and different second components. So this is certainly a function. So if we were to do the same kind of a thing, where we have the domain and we do the range, this is a different set of ordered pairs. So in the domain, I'm going to have 1, 2, 5, 6. Put a dot by them. And the range is going to be the second, the 2, -8, just 2 and -8. They're the only two different numbers we have on the right-hand side, 2 and -8. So 1 gets mapped to 2, so we draw an arrow that direction. 2 gets mapped to -8, we go that direction. 5 gets mapped to -8, like that. And 6 gets mapped to 2. Just like that. So, one way when you have a function or a relation written in this graphical form, one way to determine whether or not it's a function very quickly is look at the domain and see if there is ever a case where you have one number that has more than one arrow coming out of it. And in this case, we don't. So this one is definitely a function. 1 only goes to this. 2 only goes to that. 5 only goes to this. 6 only goes to that. Now, it's okay if they get mapped to the same numbers on this side. It doesn't matter in the range. But to be a function, each element in the domain is going to get mapped to one and only one element in the range. And you can see up here in this example that was obviously a relation, but not a function. Both of these have 2 arrows coming out of them.